Another episode. We back again.
Back again.
Well, how you feeling?
Good, bro.
Yeah.
I'm feeling amazing, man. Spirits is high, energy high. Feel good, bro. How about yourself?
I'm feeling good. Had a blessed week so far, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, feeling good.
What was the highlight of it?
I met a new cousin this week.
How the fuck?
Which was cool.
Ancestor.com?
No, so it's my uncle's daughter. What happened is my dad's dad remarried, moved to Atlanta, had a son. I know her dad. I've met him. I've hung out with him, but I've never met his daughters. And so actually, his daughter is now staying with my dad. I went to Denver for some stuff, and I got to meet a new cousin. So that was
wait,
dope.
the cousin's a she or he?
She.
You fuck with her?
Yeah, she's dope.
Word.
But she said something interesting. It was like, I always knew I was a Henderson, but I never knew what that meant until meeting y'all and getting to hang out. So that was dope.
Word. That's hard. That's hard.
And
That's hard.
Yeah. You know, that's hard.
That's hard.
That's hard.
Shout out
yeah, I did
Louis,
some shit.
bro.
I did some work with my mom this week. Like, it's been a really good week.
Fly week.
Yeah, man. We got another. One episode, I was like, it's gonna be a deep episode. You said, what episode not gonna be deep?
Yeah,
and we tried to bring it to people, bring our truths, expose our truths, so that y'all feel more comfortable exposing y'all's. I feel like it's our mission here.
Niggas in the public spotlight, fam. Like,
yeah,
just taking the current down. A nigga been hiding, been private all this motherfucking time.
Been private for a while, but it feels good to express the truth and see other people respond to it and inspired by it. And more importantly, I think the more people that are living their truth, the better off we'll be. You know what I'm saying? So
1,000%.
Do you want to tell the folks what truths we're getting into today?
Yeah, we really wanted to touch on the topic of, we're gonna call the episode, you know what I mean, like, have you ever thought about it? With that thought being suicide. Suicide rates, especially amongst black men, skyrocketed, something crazy, you know what I'm saying? And seeing a lot of recent, knowing personal people that went through it, my own thoughts, your own thoughts, and this is actually the first time that me or you, I believe, is even having a conversation about suicide with anyone.
Yeah, where would there be a space for
when?
For that?
Yeah.
So to ground the conversation, I'm just read a couple stats because I think there's a perception that black folks don't commit suicide. And I think more and more people are maybe seeing that that's not the case with some recent passings. But just to give some perspective, in 2020, suicide was the third leading cause of death, respectively, for blacks or African Americans aged 15 to 24. Death rate from suicide for black or African American men in particular was 4 times greater than that of African American or black identifying women. That was from 2018. And then overall suicide rate. Actually, the one thing I wanted to say, because we talk about this not being a black male podcast only, is that black females grades 9 to 12 were 60% more likely to attempt suicide in 2019 than non-Hispanic white females of the same age. So we're going to talk about some human truths.
Those are insane numbers, bro.
But they are affecting a certain population much differently. And so, you know, the truths are universal, but the effects are different. And so we're going to get into that a little bit.
Right. We feel like we could touch on, obviously, as black men, it's only appropriate to speak on that, but those numbers are alarming. So it's more.
And those are just stats, but just anecdotally, and not to cut you off, but we've both read different articles that's preparing for this episode. Just really quick, shout out to preparing for episodes.
Word.
Y'all should do that too. Oh, never mind. But
I like
there was
energy.
an adolescent. There's a study done on adolescent suicide, and for years they thought adolescent suicide was flat, that there was no change in the data, nothing was happening, and they realized that white adolescent suicide was going down and black adolescent suicide was going up. And they just canceled each other out. So nobody realized what was happening or there was something impacting a certain population differently because nobody ever cut the data for race because nobody ever thought, this is a prevailing thought even in science, that race is not a factor, or that if it is a factor, it means that Black people are doing it less. So nobody ever investigated that. So we really are, as Exposing Our Truths, like uncovering something that even clinically hasn't been researched to the fullest extent and really understood properly.
It's that taboo.
Yeah.
It's that taboo.
100%.
Like, you know what I'm saying? You talk about adolescence, and who the adolescent go tell that to without it being thrown into a hospital or taken to this person, and now you on meds and all of that shit. Who can you even go to off rip and talk about that? So this being me and you, first time, I'm about to get all your thoughts. You're going to get my thoughts.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? It's going to be
I'm going to be uncovering my thoughts as we talking. Like, I prepared for grounding myself in the topic, but I think I probably don't even know how I feel about
most of our
stuff.
topics we've touched on somewhat baseline with each other along kind of everything. We friends, but
this is going to be raw.
Yeah, this is a episode, a subject that I've never discussed with anyone. You know what I'm saying? So I hope that y'all can take this vulnerability and really have some thoughts on this. You know
and this
really
our conversation may move a little slower because we're gonna be thinking probably about a lot of it. So we ask for some grace.
Word. And also too, to your point with like just even bringing up stats, it was a stat that I read that had told me what made me think of suicide a bit differently, where it was saying that most suicides are decided within a 15-minute to 30-minute window. You know what I'm saying? So that paints the picture for me. Is not, or what were the signs, or what was this person dealing with, or there might not be none of that. You know what I'm saying? Because what do people do? Internalize a lot of shit, and it be the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of shit. That one moment where it feel like life is over, the stock market crashing, and homie go jump out the window. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that he was okay prior to that. It was that he was managing, internalizing all that trauma, and this was the oh shit.
This was the big moment.
Yeah, this was oh shit. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's that maybe like kind of like temporary insanity type of plea where people have passion murders and things like that, where you kind of go crazy for a second. You're not yourself. So I mean, I kind of wanted to jump in. We can get straight into it.
Before we jump in, I want to be just thinking about. I want to be responsible in us having this conversation. If you are dealing with some of those thoughts currently and you need help, you need to reach out to somebody. We're gonna put some resources either in the description. If you're listening to us of the podcast, we'll put in the description, or we'll put in the description of the YouTube video. We don't claim to be professionals when it comes to being a resource for this type of thing. We normally say, hey, reach out to us. And if you need somebody to talk to, like maybe we can help, but we really encourage you guys to seek professional help, people that are trained that can help you work through what you're working through. So we'll put some resources below.
Word. We here to simply normalize and open.
Right. We're just speaking our truth, but I think this is one we can both admit maybe we're out of our element when it comes to being a resource for people.
1000%. So I mean, like I'll jump straight into it and ask you the question: have you?
So Keith, have you ever thought about it?
No, really. Have you yourself ever considered suicide? Thought about it? Considered? I'd say.
I have not considered it, but I have thought about it.
Okay.
If that makes sense. I have thought about what that, and the same sounds wild to even say out loud. Because I'm so grateful for the life that I have. But I've even had moments that are as fleeting as driving on a road and being like, well, what if I just drive off the cliff? Like, what would happen? You know what I mean? I've had those.
Intrusive thoughts.
Yeah. Is that a technical term?
I believe so. Okay. The ones that you just come randomly without fucking.
Put me on.
Yeah. Intrusive thoughts.
We should do a little vocab joint.
Word. Nah, because definitely I'll be driving on 2-lane road. Like, I'll just drive in front of this nigga right there.
Word, like head on and just see like.
But it's just a thought. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Like, have I thought about it? Yeah.
So have you thought? You thought about it only on that level? It's never gotten to a point where you've been feeling extreme pain or sadness to where maybe not an attempt, but you've been feeling like.
So I'm giving that as like that's the threshold that I'm giving for thought about it.
Got you.
But I've exceeded that threshold for sure. In like 2020, was in a place where I felt like
pandemic.
it was a pandemic. It was me feeling like I had disappointed myself and others around me a lot. Just in a rut.
Disappointed like how?
It was what was kind of confusing for me was there's something that I want to have happen. There's a eventuality that I want to manifest to bring forth, and I may not be living up to what it takes to bring that thing forth, and I may not understand why not. And this idea, and I started going to therapy around this time, and this idea that my therapist was bringing up, that you can have thoughts that trigger your actions that you don't even realize, that are existing in your subconscious. Um, and just some people that were in my life at the time were kind of making me feel like I was a bad person. Like what? And I started thinking, like, what if consciously I just see myself as a good person, but subconsciously I am this bad person that these people are painting me as, or this person is. And what if I'm not in control of what's going on? And what if I am, I even think back, life is filled with, if you have expectation, you're going to be disappointed, right? And you set out these things of, I'm going to do this by this time, or even something, I say simple, but maybe it's complicated, but something as simple as, I want to make sure that my son is raised in a stable environment, and I found myself in the middle of a pandemic, not able to travel to see him, and I only exist as a dad via FaceTime. Damn, I'm a fucked up dad. I'm an ain't shit nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, so disappointing myself in all type of ways, and being
something we
like,
can all relate to.
yeah, and then just being like, well, fuck, if I am not who I think I am, if I am not living up to my standard, and I don't, at this point, didn't feel any desire to do anything different, because in the middle of a pandemic, I really just, I was in a depressed state where I just wanted to be in the bed and say, fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to, let's say, like, I'm tired of adulting. Like, I don't want to be doing none of this shit. Yeah, then I thought about, like, well, not like I'm gonna attempt this thing or considering killing myself, but I thought about, like, well, do I have to be here doing this? Like, is there even just like a curiosity of, well, what's on the other side of this? And even getting into a spiritual way of, like, this maybe isn't my only existence. If my body stays here, but my spirit moves on, what does that look like? Is there a reason why I can't tap into that? Can I expedite that process through this? You know what I mean? So, yes, to answer your question, yes, I have thought about it.
I would argue, I think almost all of us have at some point. I think that it almost, even if it's just been a fleeting thought of you've heard somebody doing it, or you've heard somebody attempting it, the thought creeps into your mind, you know what I'm saying? And thoughts are powerful things.
Yeah. I think like you said, like, you see somebody doing, I think I grew up, my family's perspective on it is like, or it seems to be the prevailing thought is like, if you commit suicide, you're a coward.
Right.
And how could you do that? And then as you get your own ideas in the world, you can empathize with people, right? And understand, hey, what must that person have been going through to have gotten to that point? Let me allow space to understand that. And even that act of allowing space and empathizing and putting yourself in someone's shoes makes you say, like, I wonder what it would take for me to get to that point. And yeah.
I think the irony in people even deeming suicide as a coward, I think most people don't kill themselves simply because they're scared. they are scared to do it. You know,
there's certainly a courageousness in it.
Yeah, 1000%. You jump off a building, bro. You got have some balls. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of niggas that would love to end it if there was a magic pill that you could take that's painless and go away. There's a lot more people that would be taking that. It's the fact that you scared to put a gun in your head. You scared to jump off a bridge. You actually scared to commit the murder.
Yeah.
Other than that, so.
But yeah. I mean, I definitely see, I don't think it matters. more importantly, I don't think it matters whether you're a coward or a hero.
Word.
You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah, it doesn't at all.
Because there certainly is the other side of it to that person who jumped out the side of the building when the stock market crashed. Like they have the balls to jump off the building, but they're also afraid to face their wife when they go home.
Right,
yeah.
right. Word,
there's a lot.
There's
a lot to it. But just to ground us, and for the record, have you thought about it?
Yeah, 1000%, bro. 1000%. I've thought about it at many, and I guess I'll put the disclaimer out just for anybody listening. Like, I'm not suicidal. I don't think I've ever been suicidal. Thinking about suicide and suicidal is a line drawn there. I've never.
Never. Thank you for saying that. Like, I agree with that 100%. I'm not suicidal.
And if I do need help, I'm not afraid to reach out or talk about it or anything like that. But 1000%, I've experienced a lot of. There's times I've experienced so much pain or just been so sad, so where it's just like, bro, it seems easier to just not deal with this shit. You know what I'm saying? I've had those talks with people and kind of just even the state of the world. I could, if I want to, try to live my life fairly optimistic. But if I wanted to be pessimistic about the world and where my brain can go sometime and be pessimistic about the world, I can completely see why somebody wouldn't want to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like the world is this beautiful utopia where we all just jumping for joy every day, and
not the way that we live it.
Yeah, not
I've been
the
to
way
some places on the planet that
exactly. And I believe a utopia is ultimately possible. I believe that we could get there if the way of thinking gradually changed. You know what I'm saying? It will take a major shift, but the world is not a utopia. It's not this pleasant place that people want to pretend it is. You know what I'm saying? Well, we got entertainment and this and this and this and that. But if you really get into it, bro, I can really paint this world as hell. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna look at nobody trying to escape hell as no coward shit or as even a second thought, bro. When people really talk to me about that and that's what they going through, I feel them 100%. You know what I'm saying? I see a lot of people, because a lot of people not even, like you say, they don't have the vocabulary for these conversations. When you reach out to somebody, you tell somebody that, they scared. They don't know what to say. So what people do, start shaming them. What about, think about your kids and think about that. You think these niggas ain't thought about that? You think that's...
Bro, I had a former coworker, I think mother of two, did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not about the kids.
And it certainly was not a lack of love for her children.
At all. It got nothing to do with y'all. I cannot suffer. And is it not the most selfish thing for somebody else to sit and be like, you weak for that, or you a coward for that, or how could you? Boy, you don't know what the fuck I'm dealing with inside, my nigga.
The judgment thing is the crazy thing.
It's
like,
insane.
Whether I'm a coward or a hero,
Word.
It's the judgment.
Yeah, it's insane to think about, and it's also, be real with yourself. I think so many of us have been there, bro. Like, and if you haven't been there, then be thankful and grateful for that, because then you've been fairly in good mental space. But I've seen so much pain or been through so much pain that's like, bro, I don't want to deal with this shit, nigga. I'm tired of this shit, boy. I done been locked up. I done been in a cell 23 hours a day by myself. You know what I'm saying? I don't got nothing else to do but look up at a vent and be like, nigga, what if? You know what I'm saying? I ain't never stood on a chair, but I thought about it. How would I do it? What would it look like after? How my family would feel? I done had life insurance put on me. Sometimes I find my family get under financial duress. I can end this shit and everything be cool on that end. And you know what I'm saying? I just see these niggas in the afterlife type shit. Because like I said, I ain't afraid to die. And I do have that curiosity of what's on the other side as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, I'm not all the way opposed to the idea, but I'm still here. I realized my purpose here. But yeah, never attempted it, but the thoughts do come. And I've had them as recent as last year, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've had those thoughts. But you know, I get through it. I deal with it. And I've never got to the point, but I know people that have got to the point where they've attempted it.
Why do you think, or do you have thoughts on why the black suicide rate is rising and why the black male suicide rate is rising even at a steeper clip?
Yeah, I guess a lot of that shit go back to episode 1. Why man cry? You know what I'm saying? Why man cry, man? But, we going through it, dog. We going through this shit, son. every motherfucking day. I talk about my experience in jail and shit. It's a lot of us in there. 1 in 3 going there. So 1 in 3 is fucked up, down bad. It's hell, son. I hear yo, how you go to sleep and you hear screams and niggas really, you know what I'm saying? That's what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? They just can't find a tool to do it. You know what I'm saying? So it's a real pain. So 1 in 3 of us in there. Others down bad. We the worst, down bad financially. That financial pressure is a motherfucker. Stock market crashing. We ain't got no stock market money, dog. We down at the zero, real zero. You know what I'm saying? A real zero. Like you had talked about that people make you feel lesser than. Whether that is I know men deal with that a lot in relationships, but when them fallouts with women occur or they're getting broken up, men get to feel real lesser than. Real low. You feel like you ain't shit. You feel you might have been told you ain't shit. It might be reinforced that. You start thinking you ain't shit. You start thinking you ain't worth shit. You start thinking you ain't bringing nothing to the table. You start thinking you ain't contributing no way. You might have fell out with a friend at the same time. You might have took an L on this bill here at the same time. Car fucked up. Credit fucked up. What the fuck I'm fighting so hard for to just be here, my nigga? I live in the projects. I live over here. And what the fuck I'm fighting and battling everyday life to just live another day. I ain't even living, fam. Tomorrow look bleak for me, nigga. You know what I'm saying? If I can't even look forward to nothing, fuck this shit. That's the rationale, you know what I'm saying? So, and us as black men, man, we fighting that shit. Us as men is one thing. That responsibility, that burden, that weight that we carrying. And then as black men, we dealing with the racial shit, dog. Shit real. You know what I'm saying? So I would say that's
I agree with a lot of that. I think there's a flip side to it too. Because I think that when lack is normal to you, you tend to build up a callus for lack, right? Like I'm used to not having, so that doesn't make me sad. I'm used to not being supported, so that can't break me. I'm used to feeling like I ain't shit, so that, you know, my parents told me that, my teachers told me that, the kids in my school told me that. I grew up, quote unquote, knowing that. So when you tell me that as a whatever, like when you fire me from my job, I'm gonna be upset, but I already know the world think I ain't shit. So you know it's not gonna break me. But I also, so you mentioned the people kind of like down bad in the projects, which obviously that exists. But I also see a movement of the Black arts movement that's happening right now, the growth of the Black middle class that's happening right now. And I think we're actually, a lot of us, and I feel grateful, but a lot of us are finally in a space where we're able to articulate and understand our mental health. Because it was so bad before, there was no room to do it, and we were so used to it. It was so normal for us to be whatever. Depressed is like we didn't account for because it was just normal. Like everybody's depressed, so we're diagnosing it.
It was just another word for sad.
Right. It was just like, but like, why wouldn't I be sad? Because this person's beat me down, whatever. I feel the victim in so many different ways. Like, I'm Black, duh. But I think as people have been able to get a little breathing room, then comes like, you know, it's like, it's literally Maslow's hierarchy of needs again, where it's like, do I have food and shelter? Okay. Am I accepted? Do I have, then it's like, I can't even get to self-actualization, but on your path there, you're like, wait, as people are mentioning more about generational trauma, mentioning more about generational curses, understanding their own triggers, what's happened to them. I think a lot of stuff that's not talked about in our community or hadn't been, was just swept under the rug, from sexual harassment to kids. So all this stuff that we're actually bringing to the light now, people are like, wait a minute. Now that I've revealed this is heavy.
Yeah.
This has a name now. I have to tackle this.
You
like
deal with it.
I can't not say anything. They say anything with a name can be handled with, but and they'll say it's gonna be easy to do it. You know what I'm saying? So now that we have to address these things, or even have the ability to, you know, if you watch like Comic View, one of the main jokes was black people ain't depressed. White people have the luxury to be depressed, to even be worried about that.
Niggas got worried about the bills.
Yeah.
You can't be sad, niggas. Fuck you talking about, nigga.
But I think now there is a little bit more of that as people are getting better language, and sometimes falsely identifying things, right? Like everything is not a trigger. You know what I mean? Like some of those words get overused, but there is more added to the lexicon that I think allows us to see what we've been going through. We talked in a past episode about love and abuse not being able to coexist. Well, damn, if people are realizing this and are saying, was I ever loved because I was abused? That wasn't a conversation we were having 50 years ago.
Word.
Love was a part, abuse and go hand in hand. But as you start to have a better understanding of who you are and what you're not receiving, that can be overwhelming. So I think that's a big factor as well.
Yeah, so when life comes to the big realizations, that should be hit niggas, boy.
Bruh. It's like, why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people feel, when it comes to black people, we're the only group of people in this country, black Americans descendants from slaves specifically, are the only group of people in this country who didn't choose to be here.
Word.
Every other group, whether Caribbean, African, European, whatever, came here for some type of purpose.
Opportunity.
Usually to pursue education or get a job or something like that, right? But when you didn't choose to be here and the purpose with which you were brought here is either fulfilled in some way in terms of like we built the nation, or being still manipulated in some way when it comes to the prison industrial complex, when it comes to the education in our communities, all this stuff, you certainly have, it's natural, it's understandable for you to have some qualms or some questions about what is your purpose, to be directionless when you're here because you didn't choose to be here in the first place. So I think it makes sense to me for the rates to be rising when people are looking back like, wait, what? Why am I, what the fuck? Why am I even here right now? I'm good. I appreciate it, but fuck all this shit.
We're like slowly like, and I feel that 100%. That's already so many layers to this shit that it was like, I want to just open the fucking door and like open the floodgates, you know what I'm saying? Like, let shit come out, but it's so much like, even in the society that we're building currently is like, what we going into more, everything's going digital, everything's going virtual, everything is meta this, meta that. So now we building a society to where these standards aren't natural human things, and we gotta live up to these.
Chills.
We gotta live up to these fake standards, and that's these is constant letdowns, bro. This constant social, this shit of just pulling on your fucking emotions and shit, to where it's like, people are getting to the point, yo, I don't want to fucking be here, my nigga. There's kids that's deciding like, bro, I'm out this shit, my nigga.
Yeah, and not only like making a conscious decision, like this is not for me, but also as a part of that, you're not hanging out with your friends. You're only hanging out with digitally. You're like, well, I'm talking to them the same, but when you laugh and you brush up against your homie or you hit him, that human contact does something to your nervous system. It sends a signal, you know what I mean? Like it actually has hormone releases are associated with touch, human touch.
A hug.
You know what I'm saying? When you dap your homie up and you embrace like real quick, all the people don't realize.
Can't give me no virtual dap that hit the same as
no,
a
there's
real
no
dap.
There's no virtual dap, bro.
There's no virtual dap.
This emoji is not gonna do it. This emoji is not gonna do it.
A thumbs up on my shit. Ain't nothing like when my nigga tell a joke and we laugh at that bitch together and dap up, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
They gotta have that, bro.
That's human shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we just keep getting further and further and further away from the shit, bro. Like, so we gotta really be conscious, like, I had those talks too of like, look at what we doing, what we building, what's happening, what are we really doing, you know what I'm saying? I get all the tech, that shit look cool, you know what I'm saying? Now I feel like the old nigga talking down on tech, you know what I'm saying? But like, and I'm really like, I'm a really like tech infatuated now. I love all the latest, like always that kind of shit.
And you're a futurist with me.
Yeah, word, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, but then I'm just like, but what are we doing? We creating what for what? You know what I'm saying? Like, we distancing the human connection, bro. And that's all we got, my nigga.
I got a slightly controversial take.
What's good?
I think the demise of the black church is having an effect as well.
I can feel that, and I say that as a nigga not for the black church, but I know exactly what you saying. Yeah,
and a lot of people not for it, and I know a lot of people have been hurt by it, manipulated by it, and I think just as a global society, moving out of religion-based spirituality is something that obviously is happening. I don't think it's denied, and I don't think it's deniable, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. But what I think when people say, I'm not religious, I'm more spiritual, a lot of times they lack structure with that, they lack a home base with that, and they lack leadership with that. And what, as someone who grew up in a black church, at least every week somebody poured into you and told you who you are and whose you are, as they say in the church, right?
And so, gathered.
You gathered, you had community, but also every week somebody said you're the head and not the tail, you're above and not beneath. Every week somebody said, you know, if you walk by faith and not by sight, you'll be good. You had encouragement. You were told that you were made in God's image. You were told things that gave you a certain level of, as I often try to put it, I'm divine, I can handle it. Like somebody in the black church a lot of times was making you look outward for that, right? And saying, you have to rely on this person either in the sky or this person on this pulpit to access that. But I think some of the scriptures, you know, God has not given you a spirit of fear, but a spirit of love and a sound mind. You know what I mean? Like some of these things that when you hear it on a weekly basis, it changes how you show up in the world. When people used to tell me you have a hedge of protection around you, I felt fearless walking out. You know what I mean? I think when people get away from that structure in leadership, not necessarily, you know, like whatever you may think of about the church, you know, I'm sure some of our supporters are still in the church.
Yeah.
But it's not
shit
that
rare, bro. Shit is rare.
it's more and more rare every day. But it is a weekly communion. It is community, but it's also somebody pouring into you, reminding you who you are every day. When we get away from that, you can start to question yourself. And if nobody's reminding you, that might bring you down a bad path.
It's a slippery slope, bro. Content niggas is viewing, shit that the hate that's spewed online and shit, bro. I can't imagine. I be looking at, you ever look at like a celeb comments, dog, and just like, yo, it'd be nigga go up in there and kill yourself. I feel you. But
have I looked at the celebrity
IG,
comments?
you might see some shit. Yo, nigga
Bro,
will go up
Stay
on there
Dangerous Podcast has me on IG. Crazy. I haven't deleted IG since we started this thing. This is nuts.
Word, motherfucker. But that's a thing. Like even just view now we subjected to that. Nobody will ever tell you kill yourself in person before the end. Now you might got 100 niggas that say, yo, because you said something they don't like.
I think I would have told people to kill themselves.
Maybe. Yeah,
you say something wild to me as a child, go play in traffic, nigga. Fuck wrong with you. Get the fuck out of here.
I can feel that. But it's just
social media is also something that people are talking about, especially with adolescents. Living up to it. Yo, have you heard of this like body dysmorphia that people have, even face dysmorphia that people have on social media, where they are so used to posting themselves with filters that they don't know what they look like and are so disappointed when they wake up in the morning and look in the mirror that they're like, I look so ugly because I don't have that filter on, that they start to hate them. So like that shit I worry about with my son.
I see no other way that shit go, dog. Like, yo, niggas is being born into this shit right now, bro. Like that's life off rip, my nigga. Like I couldn't imagine being in middle school with the shit, but also I'm sure the generation before us was saying the same thing kind of with us. But now I kind of see what they be talking. All you do with this tech and this these advancements, they call it. You know what I'm saying? I don't really see the advancement. We just running a fucking rat race. Like, okay, we gonna get there to prove on that. Get there to prove on that. We gonna get this car drive itself on that. But niggas is getting point A to point B just fine. You know what I'm saying? We keep speeding up this time and we keep trying to be more efficient. But at what fucking cost, my nigga? At what cost, bro? This shit costing niggas their souls. This shit costing people their humanity. People feel lost, and people is in a space of like they don't know where to turn, bro. And I know that there's countries where they have where suicide is more accepted. Where my mom comes from in Finland is I know that at one point we're leading like in suicide, and that's a factor of the weather and being dark over there, and
there's a place in Japan where it's just a mountain that people go.
Where people just go and so in some places it's very accepted to where it's like, yo, if you don't want to be here, my nigga, if you are not enjoying your experience here, you could check out. You know what I'm saying? Like in America, it's illegal in America. They tell you, yo, you cannot kill yourself out this bitch. Like that's the
illegal is wild. I never even thought about that. But what is that?
It's literally somebody having control over your body, bro.
Yeah, but how are you gonna hold me accountable for that?
Word, but that's when they get the niggas with the attempts. You know what I'm saying? When you get the attempt, then you get the you try to do this illegal.
That's the biggest American bullshit thing in the world. Instead of resources, mental health, like instead of getting you paired with a counselor, what we're gonna give you what? Court feet? Like you gotta get a lawyer?
Boy, you know what happens? The niggas is locked up to try to kill themselves, bro. They so you try to kill yourself, they take you, they gonna strip you all your clothes now, shoes, butt naked, they gonna put you in what they call a turtle suit, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a plastic little sheet go over you, and they throw you in a cell with nothing. So you thought you wanted to kill yourself then. You know what I'm saying? How the fuck you feeling right now?
Oh, that's
that's the solution. That's their solution.
This is your lack of mental health is an inconvenience to me. I've now had to use tax dollars to get this ambulance over here, whatever, or like when you're in jail, I had to use these officers clean this up, whatever.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that I'm not inconvenienced anymore. That's basically what I heard.
That's all that is, exactly. And
that's so disgusting to me, bro.
Yo, isn't that,
bro? Can we go to the fit check, dog? I can't listen to this shit no more.
Nah, we get into the fit check, bro.
How you coming today, man?
Yeah, I'll start.
Oh, I didn't even know we both had sweaters on. I didn't even pay attention to the fit check.
Nah, I peeped you came out. I seen. I was like, you see my drip, man. I said, I peeped what's going on.
Okay. Oh, word, you thought I got it from you? Oh, that's crazy. We both came from different locations, for the record.
Man,
so we didn't see each other before this.
Facts. That's facts. I usually go bottom up. I got the Ricks on. You know what I'm saying? I think I wore these for the photo shoot.
Oh, word, yeah, those Ricks.
For the photo shoot, for the cover art. You know what I'm saying? Bottega the pants. I think I wore these on here before.
Those are the pants that I always comment on?
The ones you always comment on.
With the green joint?
Yeah,
Them shits is hard. Apparently, I always comment on these pants. To me, they knew every time.
That's a fact. Came with the Rick shirt. The shirt a gift, the shoes is a gift, and the I don't even know what to call this shit. Sweater, cardigan.
It's like a cardigan robe situation.
You know what I'm saying? It's a YSL cardigan robe then. But this is a gift, a fly's gift. But I haven't wore it all winter, so I want to make sure, you get the gifts. You like, I got at least wear. I don't want you to think I ain't fucking with it. But it's a very hard piece to wear because it's like a winter piece, but you can't wear this shit to be warm because it's knitted. You know what I'm saying?
So it's like loop knit, so it's like air gets through.
So air gets through this motherfucker. So
got
but you can't lay. It's difficult to layer too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I got the
word. It can't go underneath anything. So you got, but it is. The sleeves seem big enough to throw enough on underneath it.
On, you know what I'm saying? Then came a little with the Rick Shiesty on. Just
got the Shiesty.
You know what I'm saying? I seen somebody talk about, man. If a grown man call it a shiesty, if a grown man call it a shiesty. This is like they was going on the grill. I'm like, yo, shiesty harder than the ski. Shiesty harder than the ski mask. Fuck you talking about? Shiesty a hard ass name. So
what?
That's how I'm coming. How you coming today, man? Winston like.
You know I'm coming. Bro, I remember one episode, I think I had thrown on some like, what did I throw on? Some Birkenstocks, and he was like, yo, this is winter in New York, you gotta throw the Timbs on. Yeah. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna throw the Clarks on to throw another like classic New York boot on before the season is up.
Wallabies is a staple.
Yeah, man. Getting the Wallabies, the dip Wallabies, Rototo socks. This Prospect Flow pants, some Japanese shit. I forget the name of this company that makes this cardigan. I think it's called Bantaner. It's another Japanese
Gordon Gartrell.
The shirt is a Bodie shirt. Shout out Emily Bodie. And then the pearls, regular frames, chilling.
Calm
situation.
Came
calm.
Say less.
Yeah. Okay, so we was getting into. So I mean, I didn't want to abruptly get off of that, but like the way that our government treats human beings is always just disgusting to me. So I figured we can move on to something. But one thing I want to ask you, because this is a conversation around, really it's about it's a mental health conversation. Obviously, to be in a place where you thought about it, and I want to hear more from if there's any like recent, like within the past 5 years, maybe. How'd you get out of that space? Like, how did you navigate? Like obviously, you never was on the verge of an attempt, but you were still in a sad space. Like, how did you navigate that?
Yeah, I've been in much more recent with the fire. Let's say like 2022 type shit. You know what I'm saying? And I've been down enough to where I'm just crying, or I'm just waking up, and it's just like and it's usually a combined thing. You know what I'm saying? Where you going through this, going through that, going through that. It's 30 degrees outside. It's fucking raining. Everything bad. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if there's anything specific I do, but I frequently think about the things that do make me happy and what it looks like when I am at my happiest. You know what I'm saying? So I really do try my hardest to keep my routines going, whether that be at the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like just that little bit of me going to that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Even if I don't feel like it, but I notice that when I'm not in the gym, you know what I'm saying? When I'm not doing those things, it could start to go down, you know what I'm saying? So I try to do those little things, you know what I'm saying? Wake up and enjoy this. I try to get a laugh and try to kick it with the homies, you know what I'm saying? Kick with my niggas, even if it's just, that's when I'll have my mindless fun sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Just kicking, not reckless. I'm not going out and kick with the homies to party and shit like that. Like, I'm gonna just kick it, and maybe me and Cleezy go out, grab some dinner or some shit like that, and just chat, and those kind of things make me
What
feel
up, Cleezy?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Shout out my nigga again.
2 episodes in a row.
Word. But you know what I'm saying? He a real friend, you know what I'm saying? So so it'd be shit like that where I know the things that do make me, I know the things that enjoy, I know the things that do fulfill me. So when I get in those spaces, I do try. It could be difficult at times because sometimes I don't feel like doing that shit. I just want to lay in bed and be here. Sometimes I'll reach out to people that I know have dealt with these same issues, people that have attempted, and kind of just tell them how I'm feeling. Ask them the same question. What do you do? And just get their thoughts. But even I noticed that even when I just talk to somebody, bro, just let the thoughts out, you usually feel a lot better. You know what I'm saying? So having those people that you can reach out to is important. And whether that be the homies or anything, it's not like you gotta go dump on them and let them know what you dealing with. But I know that I could just go kick it with a nigga, and when I leave, I'll be feeling a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely try to stay away from them toxic things. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go feel sad and go drink a bunch of shit. You know what I'm saying? Or go do this or go do a bunch of reckless shit. I'm not moving like that at all. I know that I provide value here on earth. I know that I would be extremely missed. I know that there's people that care about me. I know that there's people that love me. I know all these things. I can't trick myself out of thinking that, you know what I'm saying? So when I really get back into that mentality when
I can't trick myself out of thinking there's people that love me out here. That's a bar.
Word. Yeah. I know that, you know what I'm saying? I know it's shown, so I'm not saying that I'm living for them and I'm about to be courageous because these people, but I know that there's real love. They love me, I can love me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's how I'm kind of been navigating myself. But I know that it's a task for people, but I'm grateful. I love being here. I love the human aspect of this fucking life we live in, and I know that people wrestle with this shit on a daily basis, bro. And whatever you got to do or whoever you got to reach out to, do that. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to end up with you on meds and people thinking you crazy and all these things like that. I know people that have attempted it and went through with that, and I've seen them become the happiest they've ever been after. You know what I'm saying? I've seen them create life after. I've seen them go on to do amazing things, but they was at that point to where it was like the only reason they still here is because they failed. You know what I'm saying? So it can get there, but to always know that you're enough, and to always know that, you know what I mean? Like, but I'm also at the same time, I don't like to preach the rhetoric of like, you must stay here. But I'm like, yo, hey, bro, I don't know what's going on in your life, bro. If you lost everything, lost everyone, and you feel no purpose, and you doing your thing, like I'm not to convince you of that. You know what I'm saying? But if you on the fence of, I do still want to be here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel that.
How about you? That's your saddest in 2020, what you did. Cause I'm nigga in 2020, I'm sure I don't know, I'm sure a fucking huge population thought about suicide at a point in fucking 2020. Sit there, you don't know if the world about to end, you don't know COVID coming, you ain't seen your family here, you out of work here, all
Words,
type
like
fucked
as a
up
black
shit.
man, you like I'm going through that, plus like everything that everybody else going through, plus
It's a race ride in the streets.
my Aubrey, George Floyd, you know what I mean? All this stuff is happening. You're like, fuck, I'm feeling bad as a dad. I'm whatever, you know, all this stuff. But one thing that I do that's really simple, and it can get me like, I was having a bad week the other week, not on some like I didn't think about it the other week, but I was just like in a kind of a, I guess what people call a funk, whatever. I was in that
Life,
word,
man,
yeah. And when you get like that, sometimes you can get overwhelmed with the stuff because you don't feel like doing everything. And so stuff tends to pile up. And then you wake up in the morning behind the 8 ball and you're like, well, let me get this out the way so I could do this. And then let me do this. And the day goes by and you almost like feel reactive to everything. And I noticed that brings down my self-value when I do that. If I wake up in the morning and I take time to myself, and whether it be meditate, whether it be workout, whether it be make my bed, take a proper long shower. Like I get to a point where I'm not taking showers. I'm not doing, you know what I'm saying? Like just take a proper shower. What you're sending a signal to the universe is I value myself more than what's against me, right? And so like when you remind into yourself that you value yourself more than what's against you. And when that happens, day by day, when you do that, you're like, no, I do deserve to, I do have value here. I am important, but you can lose yourself in that. And so like, that's just a very simple thing that I do. And then the other things, most of the other things I do is find moments to express gratitude. What am I thankful for? And that immediately brings you to the present moment. What am I thankful for right now?
Yeah, I did that. I took that. I don't know if I got that from you. I heard that somewhere of like that being a thing of expressing gratitude and labeling the things that you're thankful for.
Yeah, and it's impossible to express true gratitude for like what's before you without being here right now. And it's really hard to be anything but grateful when you're present. Or let me not say it's not hard to be anything but grateful, but when you have intentionality of grateful, it brings you into being present. And that brings me out of any other fear-based thing. Like I'm existing in love when I'm present because there's no worry about what just happened and there's no worry about what's about to happen. There's only right here and right now. Right now, I'm thankful that I have on Wallaby. I'm thankful, whatever it is. I'm thankful that I'm able to share my truth with you all. And so right now, this is what I'm doing, and I'm thankful for it. There's not even room for, but what if this happens? You know what I mean? So that's definitely something that I try to do, and I have a bunch of ways that I do that, be it meditation, just thoughtfulness and mindfulness about where I'm directing my attention, writing things down in terms of being grateful. When I have my son, actually, every morning we try to like start the day with something we have gratitude for, and we end the night with our favorite part of the day, which is another way of like expressing gratitude. So building ritual into it as well is something. But yeah, I will admit though that I don't feel like I've ever been in a cycle of that I felt overwhelmed me, that I didn't feel like I could get out of. So I'm not pretending that my tools will work for everybody, but
Right.
that is what I did, and hopefully it's
it's them little things though.
Yeah.
It's them little things. You don't know what word or what advice you could give somebody. Cause like I know that if I'll think about that exact convo and be like, oh well, this nigga Brendan tried this. I might try that. Whatever.
I want to share
helps.
one more thing. One thing I did for somebody else who was like, not this. They were just in a place that they didn't want to be and were trying to change their life. I actually built a structure out of what are the things that you want to be doing on a daily basis. And the purpose is not to do every single one of them every day, but I created like a spreadsheet for this person, and they could check mark all the stuff that they did that day. But when you see yourself making progress over time, you build confidence, right? So you could actually, it's a visual for how much more you're committing to yourself than you were 4 weeks ago.
Word.
And those things were like, for this person, were pray, meditate, work out. They were a musician, so it was, write music. Whatever those things are for you, 5 to 8 things, maximum 10 that you want to be doing on a daily basis, write them out. And again, don't put pressure on yourself to do them every day, but you want to be doing more this week than you did last week, and you want to be doing more next month than you did this month. And when you see, damn, I was doing maybe one of the 10 things I wanted to do every day in January, and by April, damn, I'm doing 8 out of 10 or 7 out of 10. Again, every day you can't do everything, but a visual of you showing up for yourself is I found to be super helpful as well.
Word.
Yeah.
Love yourself.
Yeah. And when you don't feel love for yourself, at least prioritize yourself enough until you can get to that loving space. And sometimes structure helps that. Yeah.
That's a bar. That's real. Heavy shit, boy.
Yeah.
This chest be hurting.
This was a heavy one, but a necessary one.
No ways, bro.
We want to hear from y'all. Again, if you're this is emergency, if you're having these thoughts, we'll put some resources in the description. Thank you for exploring this with us, for being there, for creating an open space for us, and
appreciate you being vulnerable enough to have a convo. I know I sprung the topic, and it's not it's not an easy convo.
It's not an easy convo, and I didn't know where it was going to lead, but this felt good, felt therapeutic for us. Hopefully, it'd be for the audience as well.
Yeah, for sure. And now we can have a convo at some point and not be awkward or weird.
Yeah, and now somebody else can too.
Word, exactly.
So yeah, super dope, man.
Love you, my nigga.
Love you, my nigga.
Stay dangerous, bro. Jesus.